REDMAGIC 11 Pro. This is a phone that is so underrated and it does so many different things that are cool. And even the software, so many overlooked features that no one talks about. But I'm here to give you my real experience and talk about those things. Let's get into it. Before we get to the software and all that, we do got to talk about what you get in the box. I don't really do unboxings. However, with this phone, I'll always show love to companies when they do this. You do get a case in the box. That is really nice. And then you also get this 80-watt charger straight inside the box. An 80-watt charger on Amazon is probably like 40 to 50 to 60 bucks, maybe even a little bit more, depending on the brand and different things. And then, of course, the phone itself. The hardware is already crazy. You know, it has the latest Snapdragon chip, the 8 Elite Gen 5, liquid cooling, the cooling fan, like an actual fan that spins inside the device, has the LEDs, the RGBs, the triggers on the side for playing games and stuff like that, but you can use it for more than just gaming, which I will show you in this video. The flat back, look at all the smudges. There's no camera bump, you know, really cool design. You also have the headphone jack still live on this phone. And on top of all that, even with a fan that actually spins, this phone is also water resistant. That is so tough. I do have a MagSafe ring directly on the back if you're wondering what this is. But they added wireless charging to this phone, and not only did they do that, it's also capable of charging at 80 watts wirelessly. That is insane. So this phone charges faster than your iPhone charges wired, faster than your Pixel charges wired, faster than your Samsung phone charges wired, and even faster than other phones like the Nothing Phone 3 that charges at 60 watts max. This phone charges at 80 watts wirelessly if you have the proprietary tech that you need. That's the only caveat, but still the capability is insane. So more than just adding wireless charger, they went over the top. And then the front, beautiful bright screen, high enough resolution, under display camera. So when you're playing games and stuff like that, it's not interrupted at all. 144 hertz refresh rate, very smooth. You might have heard about the fingerprint sensor being trash on previous REDMAGIC phones, but they switched to that ultrasonic fingerprint sensor and it's amazing. So biometrics on this phone are a W. It does have face unlock, but it's not secure. So yeah, nice. But talking about more than that though, the software, this is where people get it twisted. The software on a gaming phone can't be good, right? At least that's what the narrative is when people talk about this phone. But in my experience, there's actually so much to the software. And it's actually a beautiful looking software as well. The overall vibe and look of it is like modern Android, you know, the Android 16 aesthetic with the transparent look to it. It just looks very modern and clean. You have your app drawer, you have your home pages. One swipe down to access your notifications, then you have some quick toggles. I really love the fact that you can access your brightness slider. Pixels and Nothing phones, they can't do that. Those phones require 2 swipes always to access your brightness slider. So I like that here. You can of course customize your quick toggles. There's so many different useful things. For example, like this, the TV remote, because this phone also has an IR blaster, something I didn't mention. So you can actually use your phone as an actual remote. But beyond those things, beyond just the aesthetic, the clean vibe, and the near stock Android, there isn't really that much bloatware on this phone. When you're setting up the phone, you have the ability to refuse to install a lot of the apps that are unnecessary. But there are some cool features. Like for example, let's start with the cooling fan. You already know this phone has a cooling fan. And when you turn it on, it looks like this. I don't know if a phone can get any cooler than that. But within the software, you can customize it to do different things and act differently. So there are 2 key settings. The first one is fast cooling while fast charging. So when you are using that 80-watt charger that they include in the box, you can have it automatically turn on the fan to keep the phone cool. This is good for the longevity of the battery health. That is nice. And then you also have the ability to automatically pause the fan while you were on a phone call. And if you're somebody like Flossie Carter, then you'll probably love this. But when you turn on the fan, it will play these noises. So by default, they have these different car sounds, but you can also add your own custom sounds if you want as well. So that's really cool. So even with the fan, although that is a gaming centric feature, they do have some software goodness tweaked in where it's useful in other ways as well, like keeping your phone cool while you're charging. And if you're thinking about the other cooling mechanism on this phone, the liquid cooling, you can enable it in the quick toggles as well, but it also has the same automations as the fan as well. So while you're charging, it will run the liquid cooler if you set this. And then also during phone calls, it will disable the liquid cooling so that there's no additional noise when you're talking on the phone. And then you have the flow state. You can change that between quick and slow, and then you can turn it on and off, obviously. Already you're seeing some cool features and optimization, even within the things that people call gimmicks. You might have noticed this key right here, this switch, and when you flick it, by default, it opens up Gamespace. This is a cool gaming suite that we'll cover later on in the video that has so many features. But if you're not somebody who wants a dedicated gaming mode, a quick way to get into the Gamespace, then of course, in the settings, you can change that. So in features, magic key, you can change it to these different options. You can use it to open the camera, turn on the flashlight, or start voice recording real quick. And then lastly, switch between your different sound modes like silent, vibrate, etc. So you don't have to use this switch for only the Gamespace. That is sick. So far, I've only been talking about features that have to do with the gaming things on this phone. But what about quality of life things? Like, for example, using your phone with one hand. On the REDMAGIC 11 Pro, you do have one hand mode. But the way this phone does one hand mode is like Samsung. So you have the ability to do this small window where you have the whole screen at your thumb's reach. And you can also make it bigger or smaller, and you can switch sides very easily with these arrows. This is super quality of life because literally I can use my whole phone with just one thumb. I could type, I can switch between apps, multitask, split screen, all that stuff right here. And then when I'm done, all I have to do is just tap an empty area and I'm back. Another cool feature that I like on the REDMAGIC, people often say that there's no multitasking or that it sucks on here. However, it's better than your Pixels, better than your Nothing phones, and way better than your iPhones. Multitasking on the REDMAGIC 11 Pro is actually pretty nice. When you're in an app and you want to do a split screen session, you don't have to do this slow method, swiping and going to your recent apps and then choosing split screen. Even if you do though, there is a quick button there, but you don't have to do all that. All you have to do on the REDMAGIC 11 Pro is this 3-finger swipe up, and then you can choose almost any app on your phone. And I say almost because certain apps like Wild Rift, for example, just don't work in split screen or floating windows. But this alone makes it really nice to use because if I need to quickly calculate something, I can bring that up. If I need to check my email, copy and paste a message, or drag and drop a photo into a different folder on my phone or things like that, or transfer files between different apps or whatever, I can do that very easily just by swiping up with 3 fingers. And then to continue the theme of multitasking, you do have something like this. The sidebar, which is kind of like Samsung's Edge panel. You can add different apps here. Not every app on the phone works here, but the ones that do work here, it's basically covering a lot of different areas. Like for example, being able to open up Google Chrome in a floating window just like that, very quickly and easily is nice. Also grabbing my email and things like YouTube Music. This is really nice to just be able to open these floating windows. And as you can see, this phone can do up to 3 floating windows at a time. So that is really nice as well. And the reason why I'm doing this all with one hand is just to show you how easy it is to do things on the phone. Essential things like this, even if it comes to multitasking on the go, you can do these things so easily with one hand, one finger. But let's bring it back to talk about everyday life. The REDMAGIC 11 Pro is one of the only flagship phones on the market that still has a headphone jack. So of course, sometimes I'll use my headphones wired for better sound quality. We all know that using the aux cord is just better quality than Bluetooth. And one of the things that is pretty nice on this device in regard to listening to stuff is that you do have the ability to manage your app's individual volumes. So for example, if I'm listening to music and then if I go to a game like Wild Rift, if I press the volume button, I have enabled it so that I can adjust individual app volumes. So that little icon when you press the volume button pops up, you just tap it and then boom, now I can adjust the volume. I like to have my game volume a little bit lower. I can still hear it, but it's not overtaking the music or the podcast or whatever else I'm listening to. So that's really nice with the wired connection that you have with the aux cord. But just in general, using the phone is fast, smooth. I already said I like the aesthetic of the software. Like it just looks very clean and modern. To be honest, you have all your essentials, all your quick toggles. You have your multitasking, your floating windows. You have really good home screen customization. Like you can select multiple apps at a time to either uninstall them, put them in folders, move them around across the pages. Very easy and smooth to customize this phone. And then you can move your widgets while still being in this editing mode. It doesn't exit until you're done. You can also assign different screens to be the home screen as well. And then you also have these buttons to quickly move apps from the top or bottom of the screen. Just really nice mechanics when it comes to editing your home screen. I like that a lot. Even the way you can add things to your folders on your home screen, it shows you what's already added and you can scroll through the list like Samsung and just add everything. You also have this right here where you swipe at the bottom and you can bring up your flashlight or voice recorder real quick. And then you have your 2 toggles, of course, at the bottom, and then the camera. Like the software is low-key kind of nice. So more than just a gaming phone, this is actually a really nice phone. Going back to the multitasking, you do have the ability to have app pairs. So the way that I use this phone, this is a gaming phone, but I use it for more than just gaming. I use it for productivity. I use it as a regular phone and consuming content. So whether it be just casually consuming content, I'll have a YouTube video at the top and I'll be on Reddit at the same time. And that is this app pair I save right here. So that is really nice for consuming content or just, scrolling on the internet, doing different things. I can even switch this app. So let's say I want to grab Google Chrome. Now I have Google Chrome and YouTube and I can do that very easily, very quickly. And then there are other app pairs, like for example, the calendar and my email app. So now I can be productive in that way and I can make either one of them taller or shorter to, fit whatever immediate needs I have. But it's just nice to be able to, plan and schedule things while looking at my email for different things that I might need to account for. other productivity things. I got Notion at the top for my video plans, and then I also got my to-do list at the bottom. So productivity is really nice on this phone because of the multitasking capabilities, and just in general, it's a big, huge screen. And in my daily experience with the phone, you know, navigating, I don't really experience bugs. I don't experience glitching. Like when people say that the software is not good, I really don't see it. They say that the translation is not good. I haven't experienced that personally. There are some things where the wording can be a little bit different than you're used to, but not bad at all. In terms of customization, it's not the most customizable software, but it's customizable in the essentials. If you want to change your icons, you can use a third-party launcher. Personally, I don't like to do that because they're just not as optimized as the built-in launcher that the phone comes with. But you can do that if you want to. It's Android. But like not being able to change your icons is not a deal breaker for me. And also, even with the animations, I don't think they have the best animations in the software, though I think the animations are good. You can also adjust the animations as well. Theming, personalization, animation. There's 3 different speeds, and then also in developer options, if you want to turn them off completely, you can. I think the normal moderate one is nice and smooth, but if you want it to be a little bit faster, you can do this. In terms of the battery life, this phone's battery is a beast. 7,500 milliamps. The iPhone 17 Pro Max that I'm using right now only has around a 5,080 milliamp battery. This phone has like 2,500 more milliamps than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And those are just numbers on a sheet. You know, optimization plays a part in it for sure. But this phone's battery is insane. Like this is easily a 2-day phone, especially for different people who don't do different things. If you're not a gamer, this phone could last you like 2 days, maybe even more. Even for somebody like me, heavy usage, this phone goes beyond a day for me. I don't even have to charge it within 24 hours. I can honestly use it for 2 days. Like by the time I have like let's say 2 work days, this phone is still alive and ready to go. Even with some gaming in between, probably like 8 to 10 hours of screen on time, the battery is insane on this phone. So you don't really got to worry about that. When you're doing heavy gaming, then the battery will die even faster than, you know, just using the phone normally. But that goes with any phone. So having more battery available just makes it better. Even I love playing a game on this because it just works. It runs really well, smooth. It doesn't heat up like crazy, or at least like you're gonna feel heat because it's dissipating heat out to the surface of the device, but like it doesn't thermal throttle. That's the thing, it doesn't thermal throttle. I don't play crazy games, but even if I did, I would have no problems doing that. And then when it comes to like other launcher stuff, there's not really anything else that this launcher is missing that most other phone launchers have. You know, like for example, people use iPhones all the time. iPhones don't got a lot of features that Android phones have. I know there are specific things that people like about iPhones, but in terms of like using your phone, like something like an edge panel, multitasking, floating windows, split screen, you know, your app icon showing, things like that, iPhones don't have that. Then when it comes to like just other basic things, Pixels, nothing phones, they don't have a lot of features that this phone has. You know, the things that I mentioned already and other things, even like app pairs, nothing phones don't have that. Pixels do have that now. Neither of them have that gesture to get into your split screen real quick. When people say the software on this phone sucks, personally, I don't really see it. There's not really much to complain about on the software side. Like there are some things I would love to have for my Samsung phones, but if we're thinking about it like that, most phones don't have all the features that a Samsung phone has. So if you are somebody who loves Samsung software, then yeah, of course, just buy a Samsung phone. But if you just want a really good phone that works out of the box, you don't really got to do too much to it because this is like more stock than a Pixel, to be honest. Overall experience and the bloat and just how simple it is to use. There's not a lot going on this in the software, but there are some extra features like I showed with the multitasking, with the fan and the liquid cooling, and it gets deeper in the gaming space. So daily experience, this phone works as a flagship really well, no problems. The only thing that's not flagship in is the cameras. The main camera is actually not terrible at all. It's actually pretty decent. And especially when you're doing like some close-up shots, you can get some good photos out of this main camera. But you do have a lot of features in the camera app. Like this phone camera experience is kind of interesting because it seems like they wanted to make this a really good camera phone, but they didn't. Like just look at how much attention to detail they paid to the camera app experience. Even in this, the filters right here, how they copied the iPhone. Like, look at this. This is pretty sick. It shows you the values at the top and stuff like that. And then you can also import other people's filters as well. So they put a lot of attention to detail in the camera app. You have a pro mode for video and for photography as well. Even that is more than certain phones like the iPhone that doesn't have a pro mode or the base model Pixels. That is nice. You have some flexibility and you can squeeze some good looking shots out of this phone. The problem with the cameras, in my opinion, the main issue is the software. The computational software within this phone is just not good. The pipeline that it pushes photos down, things come out over sharpened, over saturated. The ultra wide camera is pretty weak. I don't really use it at all, but it's there. But yeah, the main issue is just the way that the phone processes images. The actual hardware of the main camera is not terrible at all. You can get some pretty good results. There's no zoom on this, so don't expect to zoom more than like 2x. And 2x with the built-in camera app sucks, to be honest. But one thing that I downloaded was Gcam, And in Gcam, it basically is the Google Pixel camera app, and it uses Google's processing, and I think it looks a lot better. For this build, I can't switch to 50 megapixel mode because it crashes it, but just 1x shots, 2x shots in Gcam get you some good results. When it comes to video, again, it's the same thing. The video quality itself is not terrible at all, but the stabilization, the way that it colors the video, it just looks pretty bad. But if you have it on like a tripod and you adjust the exposure and stuff like that, then it's not bad. Gcam video, I don't think it's really much better than the stock app. Like Google just never really had good video anyways, in my opinion. One thing that's very important to me is using external microphones on my phones. So let's test it out. I'll plug this in right here. Go to the camera app and let's see if it recognizes. So it didn't tell me that it's using the external microphone, but I'm recording video. Hopefully the REDMAGIC is picking up, the audio from my external microphone. So it didn't tell me that it's using the external microphone, but I'm recording video. Hopefully the REDMAGIC is picking up, the audio from my external microphone. I'm happy to report that external microphones work on the REDMAGIC 11 Pro, and it actually sounds really good. A lot of other Android phones, whether it be a OnePlus, a Nothing phone, Oppo, even the iPhones, they have issues with delivering good quality when you use external mics, like at least in my experience. So I'm happy to say that not only do external microphones work on the REDMAGIC 11 Pro, it also sounds good too. So man, if you can figure out the stabilization and the way that it looks in terms of the processing of the video, you can actually get some pretty decent video output from this phone. But one issue I've been having that I gotta point out is that for some reason, it doesn't like to focus. Like there'll be random times where I can't get the main camera to focus further than right in front of it. So earlier I was trying to take pictures and compare it to other phone cameras, subscribe so you can see those videos. It wasn't able to focus in the distance and get some landscape photos. It was actually pretty annoying. And I know it's the software of the camera app because when I go to Gcam, it can focus close up, it can focus further back. And even with the camera app itself, the built-in camera app, if I reset it, clear the cache and all that stuff, it's able to focus again and then it breaks. So occasionally the focus will just break and it won't focus at all across photo and video modes. So whatever little ounce of camera capability this phone has, it gets ruined by that focus issue. Hopefully REDMAGIC patches that. The main camera can record up to 4K 60 and 8K 30, and then the ultra wide camera can do up to 8K as well and 4K 60. Good main camera, bad ultra wide camera, useless macro camera, and then the selfie camera, it's a under display camera, so you have to expect that it's not going to be good. If you know what you're doing, you can squeeze some good looking images out of this phone, but otherwise, in daily life, outside of just point and shoot with the main camera, especially if you're using Gcam, you're not going to get much out of this phone in terms of cameras. I was using my Z Fold 7 to record and the battery died, so now I'm on the iPhone, so forgive me if the audio sounds worse or too different. But back to this. So Gamespace, it's a gaming hub that you're probably used to seeing, and it's very gamer-esque and it has that vibe, but it's actually really cool when you dig deep into the features. For one, all the apps you add here, because you can add any app, so I have LumaFusion here as well, and I'll talk about that very soon. You can customize how that app works. You can customize keyboard and mouse for that app. So like you can literally map, like let's say it's a game even, not even LumaFusion. You can map keyboard and mouse to play Wild Rift. That's crazy. Any controller that you have, like this MCon, you can map those controls for any game because of the built-in software. And beyond that, beyond gaming, I'm going to show you something really cool that I discovered that immediately popped in my mind. You can also use a controller to video edit. Like because you can map the controls for any app, if you add any app to Gamespace, you can do stuff like this. So now I'm literally video editing in LumaFusion. Like for example, look at this. See, I want to cut that spot right there. I'm just going to go A, highlight it, select it with the trigger, B to delete. That's how I have it mapped. That's so tough. Then I can play with this button right here. I can pause it, check the audios. I can open up this little menu right here and mute different tracks or lock different tracks and zoom in and out, pinch to zoom in and out with the analog sticks. Both of them, scroll down the timeline. So like the sky's the limit with this software because you can use this for so many different applications. It doesn't have to be just gaming, as you see right here with LumaFusion. Like let's say it's Photoshop. You can somehow use a controller to edit your photos in Photoshop with this software. Like, I don't know if you guys are understanding what I'm saying. That's pretty sick. Just to give you a quick example again. So let's say I want to cut a part of this video. A, boom, select it, delete. Select, delete. Select, delete. I can cut. Like, look how fast it is to cut. Look at how fast I can maneuver through the timeline and cut. That is so tough. Like, I'm using this controller that normally you can't do this kind of stuff with a controller. but because of the built-in software, I can map these controls. And now beyond using the controller for those things, this phone does have triggers as well, right, that you can use in games. And so I mapped the triggers in LumaFusion to cut and delete. So even without the controller, I can still do this. I can cut super fast. I can go down the timeline, just splice up the audio, splice up the video very easily. And then if I want to delete stuff, select, delete, 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 using these triggers, because you can see right here, it shows you when you activate the trigger. These are little touch bars that act as like controller triggers, like the back of a controller, and you can map them to do anything in any app with Gamespace. Video editing with the touchscreen is pretty fast if you know what you're doing. Like this is how I normally have it laid out. I can just, scroll through, cut and then delete with the touchscreen. But with these, it low-key adds a little bit of speed. And then with the controller, that's even more sick if you can figure out how to optimize it to be even faster. So Gamespace is really cool in that sense. And then of course, there's a bunch of other things, typical things like your performance. You can go to Rise, and then there's Diablo mode for even more performance. You can change the refresh rate, the FPS, monitor your performance. You have a counter where you can like literally pop up a little counter and, keep track of certain things in game. You have a game in-game diary that you can keep track of as well. Bring that there. And now it's here on the screen. You can open different apps and floating windows very quickly as well, in addition to having the diary and the counter and all that stuff on the screen. If you want to get rid of them, you bring this aside, then you could bring it to the remove like that. And then there's other things like a crosshair to have in the middle of the screen for better aiming. You can magnify parts of the screen so that it's bigger to you, so you can see little details. Something's hiding in the background of the game. You can move parts of the screen, so like literally if you have a map, you can highlight that map and then choose to bring it somewhere else on the screen, things like that. You can also adjust the aspect ratio of the screen as well. Charge separation, where it's relying on the charger mainly and not the battery, the built-in battery. So that's good for battery health as well. And there's just so much more features. Like Gamespace is limitless. There's a lot. I can't really cover all of it, but just know you can go crazy. And my main point and the main reason why I want to bring up Gamespace anyways, it's not because I care about it that much for gaming, even though it is amazing for gaming, all the little features, is that you can use all these features for any app, not just gaming. So depending on who you are, depending on what you're doing, if you're somebody who edits photos on phones all the time, you can map these triggers to do different things and low-key get through your workflow even faster. And then, pull out a controller and do even more. And with a controller like this, MCON is very flexible, so you can use your phone and your devices in different orientations. So this is in vertical. Let's say you're doing something else, like you're going through a list of stocks or something like that, or different spreadsheets, whatever. You can map all these keys of the controller to different things on the screen and be productive in that way. Like there's a lot of potential for this. So I just want to illustrate that and show you guys the capabilities of Gamespace and the software. All right, so this phone also has video out capability, but a little bit more than that. It has some cool features. Doesn't necessarily have a full-fledged desktop mode, but you'll see. So when you plug in this phone to an external display, it will simply mirror the screen like usual, but you have this floating icon right here and you can do different things through it. So let's say you're in a game, you can tap this virtual joystick mode. And as you can see over here, you can map those buttons to do different things. So you're basically turning your phone into a controller. You can use the triggers as well as their own buttons on this screen. But if I map the controls, let's go, and R will be attack and this X can be inventory. All right, so let's try that out. My REDMAGIC 11 Pro is basically a controller and I can play Minecraft on the external screen using the touchscreen as controller. That's pretty sick. But this is just one of the many features this phone has for external displays. And as you can see, I'm using the triggers as well as buttons. It's pretty sick. Then you have something called sleep projection, where it basically casts your phone screen while having this screen be black or mostly black. And then you can also use the phone screen while it's like this. So it's off-screen sleep projection, and then you can lock it as well so that touching this does nothing. So this is pretty useful for watching videos or something like that, or you're playing a game with the external controller and you want to save battery, you can do that. And then to get out of it, you just press the power button. And then the next thing you have is extended mode. So let's open Google Chrome, and I'll rotate Chrome like this, so it's taking up most of the screen over there. And then I'm going to go to extended mode, and boom. Now Google Chrome is taking up the full screen over there, and then the phone itself turns into a touchpad. So kind of like Samsung DeX a little bit, desktop mode, but not fully, because you see how the aspect ratio of the app is not that good, but it's still pretty useful because now you can use the phone screen to do something else while you have a full screen app there. And if you have a keyboard and mouse connected, you can work on that and then use your phone for other things. You can also change the screen resolution from 1080p to up to 4K, and then you can make it display full, like take up the whole screen or not. But yeah, that's basically it, like mirror mode and extended mode, where you can basically take up the full screen with different apps and still use the built-in screen. And then for each of them, you have specific features like virtual joystick and then sleep projection on both of them. Really cool features, and you know, it's not desktop mode, but it's still really sick. If you go into gaming space, you do have another UI layout. And again, in this mode, you can use your phone as a normal phone on the side. But here, this is basically made for like gaming on the external screen. You can use a mouse to navigate it. I wish that it was more of a desktop mode. Like if I go into Samsung Internet, you see how it's still giving me a smartphone app. If I go to, let's just go to a website and then turn on desktop mode, desktop site. It is a little bit better. So this is actually really workable with how it looks. Let's go to just browsing on YouTube. I mean, it looks pretty good. And if you get a keyboard and mouse, you want to type up some documents, you could do that on this, in this mode, in Gamespace. And then you also have the touchpad as well. And then down here, you got your little menu. You can go home, you can lock your phone screen or not. You can also adjust the keyboard and mouse settings. You can use Gamespace to map your keyboard controls to the touchscreen. If you're playing, like, let's say you want to play a game that doesn't support keyboard and mouse, you can map the keyboard to the touchscreen to play those games. Like Genshin Impact, you could play like an FPS if you wanted to with Gamespace. So that's pretty sick. And let's open up an actual game. But this is like the main idea for Gamespace, to be able to do stuff like this, to play actual games on the external screen. If I connect my MCon to the device, now boom, look at this. This phone is one of the most powerful phones on the market. It has a fan, it has liquid cooling, so the performance is going to be amazing. So now, like, I can play top tier games. Let me actually open up Palworld on this. So guys, I'm launching Palworld from my phone to this external screen. And it's not streaming, it's not linking to my Steam. Like, my PC's right there and you see it's not doing anything in the background. This is literally Palworld installed on the REDMAGIC 11 Pro. And I'm playing on the external screen with a controller. That is crazy. The things that phones can do nowadays, and especially this phone because it's so powerful and has all this cooling built in, and it can sustain high performance. This is basically a console or pocket PC that I can carry around anywhere with me. And this screen is just a laptop, so it doesn't need anything. It has a built-in battery, and I can play games. And look, 60 FPS. Like, obviously it's gonna dip and stuff, but pretty much above the 50s easily at low settings. This is insane, bro. The fact that a smartphone is able to do this is so wild. Oh, let me summon this guy, bro. Look at this guy. He tried to pull up on me earlier, but he got caught. Palworld, bro. From the phone itself, like the files are on the phone. It's not streaming. That's insane. The potential is limitless for this phone in terms of gaming. Even productivity, if you can figure out different ways to work around different things. And like I showed with the controller and stuff. REDMAGIC 11 Pro. Shout out to REDMAGIC for all these cool software features. The performance of the phone as well. The sheer performance is insane. And lastly, I'll talk about gaming. Like, this is a gaming phone. I didn't really talk about gaming on it that much. But bro, you really don't need me to say it. You can play anything you want with the REDMAGIC 11 Pro. And when it comes to emulation, it's insane. It can play whatever. One thing I will note though is with GameHub, I was able to play Palworld, which is a PC game. And not only was I able to like play it or just start it, it's actually pretty playable on the REDMAGIC 11 Pro. So I'm actually show you that. And boom, guys, I'm playing Palworld. This is a PC game installed locally on the device using some PC emulation and whatever black magic that GameHub is using to get these games working. And I'm playing it. And let me just go into the game itself, extend out my MCon. And here we are. This is Palworld. I'm screaming, but like, this is wild, bro. I'm literally playing Palworld, a PC game on the smartphone. And it runs good. Like, this is very, very, very playable. Look at these. Yo, let me go get these guys. Hold up. Bring on my ninja. It's been so long. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go pull up on these guys. I'm playing, like, this is local, guys. This is not streaming or anything like that. This is on the device itself. There is some micro stuttering, but you can see that the FPS is above 50 for the most part. So let's go get these guys, bro. FPS is definitely dipping with some action. But get out of here, fam. Get out of here. Yo, you know what? Matter of fact, get caught. What are you talking about? I'll catch all you guys. You guys are all about to work for me, bro. Hold that. You guys really thought you can get me, bro. You really thought you can pull up and everything will be all right? Nah. Now you are a pal. Palworld, very playable. Like, above 50 FPS. This is low settings. Definitely playable. And I'm excited to see where this goes with more optimization. So this is the combination of the gaming experience on the REDMAGIC 11 Pro, in my opinion. Any game you play will work flawlessly. Any mobile game that's on the Play Store will run proper unless there's some optimization issues. There's not going to be much thermal throttling because This is one of the best phones in terms of thermal management. So it has a huge vapor chamber, it has liquid cooling, it has the fan. Some people say liquid cooling doesn't do much, but hey man, this is still one of the best gaming phones on the market, probably the best, if anything. Daily experience is good. I haven't seen any major bugs other than the camera bug, which could be annoying. But like I said, if you don't use your camera that often, then this phone is amazing. It's just a really good flagship phone, big dirty screen with under display camera, 144 hertz. It's bright enough to use outside. It just does everything you need a phone to do, but so much more with the gaming and all the other features I showed you. That's the REDMAGIC 11 Pro. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And until the next video, we're out. Peace.